Hi, for those who haven't met me, I'm Dr. Judy Morgan, and the past week we have stepped into a hornet's nest. I didn't ask for this, it just happened. And I want to tell you why I am so passionate and why I'm getting hate mail and why pet store owners are getting phone calls from people saying, "Who is this Dr. Judy Morgan anyway?" Well, I'm going to tell you who I am. In the past few weeks, we have gotten reports of 397 dogs that are sick or have died and 129 cats that are sick or have died, suspected from their pet food. We don't have proof. We are working on getting proof, but it is suspected and we have to start somewhere. Of those animals listed, 222 listed only Purina pet foods, which is why we called out Purina first. So why do I care? When I wrote my first book, I started learning about pet food. When I learned traditional Chinese veterinary medicine, I learned about food therapy, and I learned what goes into traditional pet food, particularly from the large pet food companies and from mass production and the waste products that go into our pet food. I was asked by Susan Thixton many years ago to start attending AFCO meetings because she has been the only consumer advocate for our pets at AFCO meetings for many years. So I took her up on that offer. I went to my first AFCO meeting and I met Susan. And I was so angered at that very first meeting. I was the only practicing veterinarian in a room of 500 people. Most of those people are representatives of big pet food companies, some small pet food companies, and also regulatory people from state and federal levels. What I saw in that first AFCO meeting that I went to, and I've been to many since then, is that it's not about what is in our pet's best interest. It's about what's in the best interest of industry and where can we hide a lot of waste products. I've been to meetings where we've been told that it is almost impossible to have rendered products that don't contain pentobarbital. When the head of the Rendering Association says that, that has an impact. And when the very first meeting that I went to, in the opening statement, I think it was made by somebody from FDA, and they were talking about how wonderful the pet food is and that it doesn't cause any problems and it's not responsible for any of the things that we're seeing. And so I went up to the microphone after swearing to Susan that I would sit on my hands and be a fly on the wall. And I went up to that microphone and I stood there and I started talking. And my voice started to shake and my knees started to knock and my fist clenched. And I looked at that man and said, "I'm the only veterinarian in this room in general practice. I see the results of these pet food problems every single day. Chronic inflammation, chronic allergies, pancreatitis, arthritis, you name any itis, diabetes, all these things that are being directly caused by pet food. You don't see what I see. You don't have to smell the skin, the ear infections, the horrors that I see in practice, and you don't have to deal with the families who have to put their pets to sleep because they can no longer afford to try to solve these problems." And with that, trembling and shaking, I started to cry, and I got so angry with myself because I was allowing them to get away with this, and they didn't care. When I finished, I got, "Thank you, miss. You may be seated." Years later, when I was in another AFCO meeting, and I went up to the microphone again because I'm a fool and I didn't learn the first time, or any other time. And I went up to the microphone and I said, "We need to talk about prescription diets. There are no medications in there. Why do we need a prescription? As a practicing veterinarian, why would I write a prescription for a food that has no medications and is made with very poor quality ingredients and is no different from anything that is being sold, frankly, in the grocery store and in a lot of pet stores by the same companies, yet they charge 3 times as much if I have to write a prescription for it. And consumers are told that their pets must remain on these for the rest of their lives, when a prescription is something that is written for short-term use, not lifetime use. And do you know what the response I got from that was? Thank you, miss, you may have your seat. And all the big pet food company, I'm not even going to name their name, but the whole row behind me snickered and laughed and pointed and called me a fool and said I didn't know what I was talking about. I'm here to tell you, I've been in the trenches. I've seen what we get when we use real food versus poisonous waste products. And that is why I am passionate. That is why I do what I do. I'm being called a quack. I'm being called a scaremongerer. And it's being said by a large pet food company that I am just trying to cause chaos so that I can sell my own pet food. No. I'm trying to get people to wake up and to get these companies to be responsible for killing animals. They know they're doing it, and they're giving us the same response we got in 2013 and 2012 and 2007. All of these recalls. We don't have a recall yet. Don't go looking online for it. But you better believe we're working towards something big here, and I am not going to sit down and shut up because I can't. So it's been said, I've been feeding this food for many years and I've never had a problem. That is great. You haven't had a problem and maybe you won't, but maybe you will. And if you do, because we're getting lots and lots and lots of evidence, if you do, please discontinue feeding whatever it is that is making your pet sick. If you open a new box or can and it doesn't look right, doesn't smell right, your pet doesn't want to eat it, please do not force them to eat it. Don't doctor it up to make it taste better. Take it away, save the bag, save the lot number, save your receipts, store it in the freezer so that if it needs to be tested, it can be. Switch to something else. Can I tell you what to switch to? I can't tell you what to switch to because I might give you a name that also could show up on this list and I can't be responsible for that. I do have a list of preferred pet foods. By the way, I don't own any of the companies. I don't have an interest in any of the companies. They're just companies that I trust. And I know they're not going to poison your pets. So you're welcome to that list. It's available. Susan Thixton has a list on truthaboutpetfood.com. You have to pay $10 for it. Sorry, but $10 is a lot less expensive than thousands of dollars in emergency room visits or the death of your pet. Please be vigilant. Please, please stop feeding something if your pet is telling you that it's not agreeing with them. Please, please, I'm just begging. That's all I can do.